an elderly woman suddenly bursts into a party, leaving everyone stunned as she hysterically tells them that her husband has died right in his chair while watching television. Dino immediately rushes to the woman's house to help, but when he arrives, he finds no one there. Not long after, news emerges that an unknown virus has broken out in the neighborhood. The government wastes no time and places the entire city under quarantine. Streets are sprayed with disinfectants, and residents are strictly advised to stay indoors. Initially, people ignore the warnings, trying to carry on with their daily routines, but the situation rapidly spirals out of control. The first tragic case emerges when the old woman's supposedly dead husband returns home. But he's no longer human. He's been reanimated by the virus and violently kills his wife, proving the virus has the terrifying ability to bring the dead back to life, turning them into aggressive zombies. Those who ignored the quarantine measures begin falling victim to the infection. Soldiers start patrolling the streets with orders to shoot anyone who attempts to leave their homes. With the city completely sealed off, soldiers begin going door to door, checking residents for symptoms. Once a home is inspected, it's sealed off, and only minimal rations are delivered daily to keep the occupants alive. Inside their home, Dino and his family try to distract themselves from the grim reality by watching an old vacation video. But then, the electricity suddenly goes out, and the gas supply is cut off too. Black plastic sheets are stretched over certain houses, cloaking the neighborhood in darkness. Under these oppressive conditions, many residents begin to lose their sanity. Anna and Casper, once a loving couple, start fighting as Anna is desperate to escape, but Casper refuses to risk it, insisting they're safer at home. One night, Gustav witnesses some neighbors are taken outside, loaded into military trucks, and driven away. They are told they are being transported to a hospital, which has now been turned into a military base. Gustav becomes suspicious and wishes to investigate, but his father strongly forbids him from going. A few days later, unable to resist, Gustav sneaks out and first visits his girlfriend Sonia to ensure she's safe. Once reassured, he heads towards the hospital. There, he is horrified to discover that the safe zone is actually a death camp. Infected people are rounded up there, only to be exterminated like animals. Gustav helps free some of the infected and narrowly escapes as soldiers try to shoot the infected, attempting to contain the outbreak. But the infection spreads faster than they can control it, and soon, the military is forced to abandon the area. Meanwhile, Anna takes the opportunity to escape. She gets in a car and abandons Casper behind. While returning home, Gustav finds Sonia and her mother and brings them to his house. Despite protests from Pernille, they're allowed to stay, as Sonia explains that her father went mad and started beating her mother. They realize that the infected are drawn to light, and Gustav's peeping outside through the plastic sheet exposes their location, but Casper arrives just in time and saves the family. Later that night, Anna returns from her attempted escape, battered but alive. She reports that the roads are heavily barricaded, and anyone trying to escape is shot without warning. As days pass, Sonia discovers that her mother's condition is worsening. She has a fever and a serious leg wound from when her husband attacked her. Later, Dino and Casper decide to scout the city and search for food and supplies. They walk through abandoned streets filled with evidence of recent horrors. When they reach the highway, they find it completely sealed off by a massive wall and heavily armed soldiers. When they get too close, the soldiers open fire, forcing them to flee. Meanwhile, Sonia wakes up in her mother's arms, but realizes with horror that her mother has died. Knowing she could turn into a zombie, Sonia and Gustav leave the body in the room. Suddenly, Pernille frantically bursts in, announcing that Maya has gone missing. They arm themselves with a bat and a shovel and search for the girl. At the same time, Dino and Casper break into a local store hoping for supplies. But instead, they encounter a terrified woman who explains that she and her husband were attacked. Moments later, her husband, now infected, attacks them, and Casper is killed in the struggle. As a swarm of infected closes in, Dino is forced to abandon Casper and flees with the woman. The woman thanks him for saving her, but Dino threatens her with a weapon, steals her supplies, and ignores her desperate pleas to help her 2 starving children waiting at home. While looking for her missing rabbit, Maya encounters the old woman, who suddenly attacks her. Hearing Maya's terrified screams, Gustav and his mother rush to help, but by the time they reach her, it's too late. They are quickly surrounded by more zombies, but Dino shows up just in time and shoots them. However, the sound of gunshots draws the attention of a nearby horde of zombies, and the family barely manages to fight their way back and retreat safely to their home. Meanwhile, Sonia's mother, who has turned into a zombie, rises from her deathbed and goes searching for her first victim. Upon returning home, the family encounters the infected Anna, who was bitten during her escape, and Dino quickly shoots her. Gustav then bursts into Sonia's room and finds her holding a knife, while her mother's reanimated corpse lies nearby. Dino enters the room with his wife and asks to be alone with his daughter. When Pernilla refuses to leave, Dino insists that Maya is turning and must be killed. Pernilla refuses, grabs Maya and hides in the bedroom to protect her. Tragically, Maya transforms into a zombie and attacks her mother. Dino arrives, but cannot bring himself to kill his daughter. He tries to kill himself instead, but finds the rifle is out of bullets, causing him to die at the hands of her infected daughter. Zombies break into the house and attack the remaining survivors. One of them tries to bite Sonia, but Gustav saves her at the last second. Knowing they can't fight off the growing horde, Gustav and Sonia climb onto the roof. Using a flare to distract the infected, they manage to climb down and push their way through the crowd of zombies. With the last of their strength, they run towards the forest, realizing with horror that the infection has already spread far beyond their neighborhood.